This is Jackie, and I'm here with Brendan of Counterparts. We're at the New Jersey stop of Vans Warped Tour.
One of them.
One of the, well, yeah, I was
One
like,
of the many.
do we call this New York? We don't, because that was
No,
Long Island,
yeah, that
so.
was, exactly, yeah. And the other one was Philly, so no, today's a legit New Jersey. We're in it today, so.
If my accent comes back, I'll apologize now.
problem.
It's bound to happen.
It's all good.
New album, You're Not You Anymore, September 22nd.
Yeah.
I got it. How is the single, how's your first single represent the overall sound of the album?
I think like the reason why we picked it is because like the song's just really catchy in our like, and we're not really known for like being this like super catchy band, and that's like the one thing that we wanted to do with the record. We wanted to make it so, you know, we can still have like the Counterparts vibe and still sound like us, but we need parts that are like catchier, you know, and like to make the songs more memorable. Because I feel like when we do when we put out albums, it's like, you know, 10 songs and kids know like 4 of them, you know. So it's like we want to just cut that out completely and just have like these. Wanted to make a record of all bangers, pretty much. So with Bouquet, that was sort of that was the first one that we recorded for the record, and that was sort of like, okay, this will set the tone of the record for sure. That's why we wanted to put it out first. So.
What are some things or events or people that influence the songwriting on the album?
I mean, for like lyrically, from what like my point of view, all the lyrics and stuff like that, like they're directly related to my life and just like things that I've went through, and so the record sort of picks up where tragedy left off and brings everyone to where I'm at right now, or at least where I was in June when I wrote it. So we like, you know, in terms of lyrics, like it's all very much based on my life. Musically, there's a bunch of bands that we sort of draw from. Like, you know, we like the heavy yet super melodic, obviously. You know, so there's like bands like Misery Signals and Shai Hulud and Poison the Well and Taken and Saints Never Surrender and like all these bands that we've sort of been ripping off for years. And that's sort of like what we just try to like do our best to be like a, you know, maybe one day we'll be as good as them. So that's our band in a nutshell, pretty much. It's Of Malice and the Magnum Heart, but dumbed down a bit, so because it'll never be as good as that. So.
Oh man. So Counterparts have been together for about 10 years now.
Yeah,
What do you attribute to your band's longevity?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we like we started the band when I was 16. So like I'm 26 now. So it's like, you know, like we started it when I was in high school and we couldn't really do anything. Like we couldn't go on tour because it's like, well, we could play a show tonight in a city 5 hours away, but I have to get up and I have like math at 11 tomorrow, so I can't do it. So we just sort of did our own like local stuff here and there for the time being. And then when I was 18, I graduated. And right from like high school graduation until now, I've just been touring for a living. So I don't really know why we've been around for so long. Like, I don't know why people care. Like, if I'm being honest, like, it's awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's sick. But I think that people sort of gravitate toward our bands because there's just this like honesty about us, because we're not, you know what I mean? Like, we're not like a gimmicky like show type band. Like we go on stage, we do our thing, we get off. People come talk to us, like people are gonna get the same me that's on stage, that's on Twitter, that's right in front of them, you know. And I think that we're very just real people, you know. And like obviously over time we've had members come and go and everything, like a lot of the bands have. I think I can attribute that to the fact that, you know, when you're 17, touring sounds like the best thing in the world. And then sometimes people hit like 23 and they're like, actually, this kind of sucks and I don't make any money, so I don't want to do this. So they bounce. But for whatever reason, I'm still here. Like, I'm the one original left. So for whatever reason, I've stuck through it. And it's cool because the band's sort of like the trajectory of the band. It's been this like exponential growth. Every time we do a tour, it's a little better than the last one. And, you know, it's like a slight ramp as opposed to like, oh, we're the biggest band in the world, now no one cares. It's been a grind for sure. But yeah, it's like, you know, we've just been slowly working away, and I think that's why we're still here, because it just keeps getting a little bit better. So we're like, oh yeah, we might as well just keep going, see where it goes. So.
And so how is You're Not You Anymore an evolution of sound from, let's say, Prophets?
I would say like with, I think we definitely got smarter, because like with Prophets, we literally wrote that when I was like 17, 18 years old. So, you know, we were all like young kids in high school. Like we didn't really know what we were good at. We had this idea of what we wanted to be and how we wanted to sound, so we just sort of ran with it. And with that, you know, with being in a band for this long and playing together and the member change and stuff like that, you sort of realize what you're good at and what you're not good at. So I think that the new record is sort of, it's us like trimming all the fat that's like, yeah, it's cool, but we don't need it, you know? So we sort of like just tried to, you know, cut that out and just be like, yeah, like only bangers. Like we want to make a record that we can play every single song live and no one, you know, no one's listening to it in their car being like, oh God, like skip this one, the song's boring, the song's 8 minutes long, it's terrible, you know, that's short, it's to the point, it's very like, here's what we think we're very good at, and if you agree, like, sick, come to a show and give us some money, I guess. I don't know.
Speaking of which, how do you go about choosing your set list for Warped Tour?
For Warped, we just like, again, we got together and we were like, what songs are, when we play a show, what are the songs that everybody goes off for? And, you know, and then we have like Disconnect, Stranger, Outlier, like Witness, like the songs that the crowd interaction is very, very big. So that's sort of how we were picking the set. I was just like, I don't want no snoozer. Like we don't want to do something like Compass where it's 4 minutes long and the first 3 minutes kids are just staring like, and then at the ending they all know the words. It's like, no, we don't want any of that. We just want to have like a good fun set that's high in energy and makes people that are walking by, like, you know, Guar will have just played and people will be walking by and they'll be like, oh, this band's kind of cool, like, and everybody seems to be into it, so maybe I should check them out, you know? And that's sort of like, that's the goal with Warped Tour, is just to make it so it's like we, you know, there's no filler, it's just here's our best, just take it, you know? And if you don't like the best songs we have, then you probably won't like our band, so. Sorry, we'll try harder.
You got half an hour. You got to make it count. I think
exactly.
That's the best way to go about it.
That's the other thing too. Is like we talked about, like being a band for so long. Obviously, we have 4 albums out right now, and we have like an EP thing, and so it's like it's kind of hard to choose. But at the same time, it's not, because we have like so many, like the earlier stuff. Like there's so many filler songs that I'm like, yeah, we could play that, but then everyone would stare at us and not know what the hell's going on. So we just try to, you know, it's like we have half an hour. We have to make it count. It's got to be only hits. And I think that we did a good job at doing that, you know. So
I think it was Trophy Eyes that was telling me earlier about your karaoke, your infamous karaoke.
Yeah, we did that last night. Yeah, that's why we're over now. So
what's your go-to karaoke song that like is definitely not even remotely close to your genre?
Oh, Love Shack, 100%.
Really?
We literally start and end the karaoke with Love Shack, and the rules like only we can do it. If anybody else comes up and they're like, oh, I want to do Love Shack, we're like, absolutely not. Like, not going to happen. That like. We do Crossfade Cold a lot. I mean, I guess it's not the furthest thing from us. Love Shack's pretty weird for sure. I was trying to think of what someone did like last night. We had like I did. It was funny. CKY were hanging out, and so Silverstein, like as a goof, like picked a CKY song for karaoke, and they were feeling it. And in my head, I was like, oh, like you want to play that game? So it's the second that song was over, I put on Smile in Your Sleep karaoke, and I did it. And then like Shane was like getting crowd surfed by people like around the trailer and stuff. It was wild, but yeah, it was really cool.
Sounds like
I'm glad that
good
people
stuff.
are into it, because I thought for sure like we would do it and people would be walking by the tent like, nope, not me. I'm not into that. Like I don't know what the hell they're doing, but people love it and it's sick. You know, it's cool. So that's how we get friends. We bribe them. We reel them in with come have a good time on our behalf and then leave and never talk to us again. It's all good.
Sounds like a good time, a good way to break up kind of the monotony.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean it does, and we all like we've had like a rough week of shows with like in Buffalo there was like a flash flood and like all this stuff, and you know, just long days. And I think yesterday it was just like, all right, we need this for our sanity. Like we need to party, we need to relax and do karaoke and have fun. And I think a lot of other people on the tour were in the same boat, so it popped off pretty hard last night. I will say. So, yeah, it's cool.
What's up next for you guys after Warped Tour?
After this, we're home for a month. Probably just like getting album stuff ready. Then we're doing a Canada tour. It's a 3-way co-headline with us, Straight from the Path, and Comeback Kid, and Gideon's Direct. Then we're going to Europe in November. Home for Christmas. Back to Europe again in January. Then another full U.S. in February, and that's what we have booked until now. So.
Touring with some really great bands.
Exactly.
Make sure you stay tuned for much more.
A whole bunch I can't even like talk about yet because like they're not announced or whatever. But like the U.S. tour we have is like sick. So please come to the tour for God's sake. Just please, I need the money. So.
Stay tuned for much more from Counterparts. This is Jackie. Thanks to Chorus FM and One Avenue.